I've spent the last week reconnecting with my depressed 15-year-old self, and it has been, I think, the happiest I've been in months. Hi, I'm Kirsten. I'm a tarot reader, editor, artist, and it's nice to meet you. I kind of already did an audio about this a couple days ago that's gonna go up today, where I talked about essentially how I realized that I just don't hate my 15-year-old self in the way that I used to. And that's been like an interesting experience. Let me paint a picture. I kind of already did this the other day, but in case you're feeling lazy, I'll do a rapid fire. As a 15-year-old, I was hella emo, hella depressed, scary depressed. I was very introverted and spent a lot of time by myself, just on my computer doing stuff. I was a Tumblr kid. I was big into music at the time. My main ones were like Five Sauce and 21 Pilots. And there were other media that I was super into as well. I remembered today that I had a bit of an anime phase for a bit. Low key. I wasn't buying merch, but if I had the funds, I probably would have. But very particular kind of teenager, very quiet. I was watching videos of me in high school the other day, that same night that I recorded that audio about not hating my 15-year-old self. And I was watching them because I was clearing out my iPhone storage, because so much of the storage on my phone is just videos, which I was not aware of. But I was going through and I found videos I had taken of myself when I was a teen, talking to camera, that just never made it past the talking to camera part to the editing suite, because all I had access to was iMovie at the time. And it was just interesting hearing how I spoke, because I've always been a very soft-spoken person, but my voice, I feel is more here, whereas when I was younger, it was even more nasally. I don't even know how to mimic. There's a video of me talking with my friend in the airport, and I'm talking this, kind of that's the best way I can try and mimic how I used to speak. And it was kind of crazy to listen to, because it kind of reminded me a bit of all roads lead back to I Saw the TV Glow. It was reminding me of I Saw the TV Glow, in the sense that if you've seen the movie, or at least, yeah, if you've seen the movie, the main character Owen kind of also talks like this, he can't really breathe and everything's really up here, and it's related to the story of I Saw the TV Glow, so I won't expand too much on that, but it did remind me a bit of that, and it was wow, that's fucking funny. But I've been reconnecting with her this week, semi-intentionally, semi-unintentionally. I spent a lot of my life kind of outrunning her. I feel it definitely happened around the time I was 16, 17. I joined an cult org, that story time for another day. I'm hyper because I just finished redesigning my website, and I've been hermiting for the past week, trying to get this redesign done this week, because it was I must finish it this week. And I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. You should check out my website. It's gorgeous. It's so pretty, and nothing makes me happier than making pretty things. So I'm hyper. I'm hyper on okay, we're calming down. But yeah, I was thinking about her, and yeah, when I was younger, I joined orgs around the time I was 16, 17. I started playing with filmmaking and getting into things that 15-year-old me wasn't as open to, because I was also very shy and self-conscious, so I associated that version of myself with restriction, and to me that version of myself was the barrier to me being the perfect, most ideal version of myself. And there's also the layer of the fact that I experienced I guess heartbreak to some degree. For the first time, I roll my eyes because it's what does that even mean? But whatever. It's heartbreak. And after experiencing it, I have this like core memory of like sitting down in my very type A ND brain and literally like making a page listing out all my flaws and making a little picture of myself all unhappy, and then being like, okay, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix myself? And then I started having like monthly plans of like, I'm going to do these things to improve these parts of myself. And I've kind of been on that kick for like a decade. And I like remember talking to my therapist about this recently. And I feel like that's probably when the the spiral started unspooling a little bit, in the sense that even the confrontation of like that moment being A, pivotal, and B, kind of filtered through a lens of just not objective truth. Like, I wasn't a bad kid. Like, I wasn't a bad kid. I was not just a good kid in like the sense of like adults didn't have to worry about me, relatively speaking. But I wasn't a bad kid in the sense that it wasn't like some grand thing that was wrong with me that made me incapable of being like loved by people or being accepted by the people around me. I was just a teenager. Being a teenager, and being a teenager is hard because you're having all these experiences and you don't really understand why you're having the experiences that you are. And I didn't understand at the time that my like sadness and depressive state was because I was growing up and grieving growing up, and no one prepares you for that. And you have all these like brain chemistry bullshit happening at the same time. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Let me not curse too much. Not on this holy site, but so I've been reconnecting with her this week, and it started off unintentional, right? Because I was already kind of getting back into my fandom bag, which always happens whenever I'm in a period where things feel a little bit like harder than normal or more complicated, or just like, because it's a thing like dopamine and also easy to like control and fixate on. I was getting back in my fandom bag, as I do. This has been a consistent thing throughout my life, even as I've continued to try and grow and evolve as a person. But at a certain point, I was like, you know what I should do? I should get back into using Tumblr. And so I've been using Tumblr, and I was having this like revelatory feeling of like, oh my god, it's so nice to be on Tumblr with like an adult brain, because you just take it significantly less seriously. You can just go on there and have a good time and disengage with any discourse that you want. And it's fucking awesome. And it's so nice to just like lean into like the, I guess, like fangirl persona, which is also how I got through like low-key quarantine era COVID, was leaning into the fangirl persona on like Stan Twitter. And then of course that led to brain rot, but that's a different story for a different day. But then it started to expand into like other things, as far as like just like getting back into like hobbies I used to do when I was younger, writing creatively for fun again, of course like reading fan fiction because like, yeah, but I feel like strangely this website redesign has also been another way that I've kind of been tapping back into this teen self, because I used to love doing stuff like that when I was younger. There was a point in time where I wanted to learn how to code so I could make my own websites, and I also did a lot of like graphic design adjacent stuff growing up as well. Like, I love design. Like, I love making things out of nothing. Like, this website would not exist if I had not made it. Like, that's so fucking cool. And like, I'm literally getting like hyper and excited just thinking about it. And I feel like in like another timeline or life, or maybe if I got my ish together and like got really focused, I could be like a UX UI designer, because I just love building things like this. I think it's so fun. And yeah, it all comes back to Tumblr for me, because I was also the same person that would get this nitpicky about my Tumblr blog. It's the same brain. And of course, as I've been working on this website, it's definitely been a bit like angsty and isolationist as well. And I've been like really sitting with like my angst in a meaningful way. Because usually I run from it. And a lot of it has to do with the fear I've had for so long of becoming my 15-year-old self. But then that fear kind of disappeared because I've been remembering how fun she was. Like, I'm remembering how fun it was to, like, yeah, enter, like, daydream space and, like, fangirl and create my own little worlds, do creative things. Like, she was so creative. Like, I feel like that tendency to lean into creativity during periods of, like, angst is, like, such a gift, you know? And it saved me time and time and time and time again throughout my life. And I don't think I acknowledge enough how much she has helped me without me even being aware of it, because I've been so focused on trying not to become her or be her, by trying not to be too sad or too antisocial or too weird and like fixation focused and like, you know, and you know, we can talk about the neurodivergence of it all a different day, but for today I'm taking it as simple as I love that girl so much, and I feel so bad for making her hate herself for so long. And I'm so glad that we get to be adults together, or I get to be an adult with her. And sometimes I think about how fun I would have right now if I got to go back in time and just hang out with my 15-year-old self for a day. Like, she would be like all like for like 2 seconds, and then eventually we'd realize we're like, no, we're on the same wavelength though. Like, no, you actually get it so bad. Like, you get it so bad, you know? Yeah, that's how I feel today. I also was like rewatching Noah's Ark, if you're familiar with that Logo show at all, which I love, and I remember finding as a teenager as well, and just being so in awe of like a whole show about queer Black people centered around queer Blackness. Like, what the fuck, you know? I'm just so hyped right now. I'm like so hyped. I think it's mainly because I have the site done now and I don't have to work on it anymore, which means I can also get back to like creating other work, which is what I love to do. And I'm just very, very happy. I'm very, very happy. And I feel like this piece in my brain also kind of adds to or answers the, like, I guess, is it core wounding or missing piece around like, who am I? How do I show up authentically as myself in the world? And a big part of that is her. She is the answer. I am the answer. Yeah. I'm also in a good mood because I retwisted my hair recently, which you probably will notice because it looks different than before. And she's so long, bro. Like, ignore my t-shirt. Hold on. Like, that's, like, you know, like, you weren't there. I'm gonna insert pictures of how it was when I first started my locks. Like, and if you see, then you understand why this is a big deal to me. Anytime I notice that my locks have grown, I'm like, well, I'm growing too. And that's the video.